question, what would you do with that? Like, it's just a good question. Like, what would that be like in your life if there was no time and space?
I don't
That's
think people would know how
provocative.
to think.
Huh?
I don't think people would know how to think.
Yeah.
You'd have to explain, so there's no past, there's no future, there's only right now. Is. And space,
Here. I'm amazed, how God, Christ talked about in John that, you believe in me. If you can't believe in me, believe in the works. And then he said, but he also pointed to the Father. You can have the Father. In other words, you can get saved through the Father. It don't even have to be through. But now that you see me, you're seeing the Father through me. And they couldn't understand that.
well, neither can I.
I know.
Quite honestly,
But I
know
mean,
what you mean.
but we have we realize the mystery of it.
Yes.
Where they didn't even know the mystery of it. I mean, you can imagine they're up in the Mount of Configuration. What was that mountain? I don't know. But anyway, they're up the Transfiguration. And all of a sudden, the three disciples that went with him saw his holiness, his eternal life with the other two men that showed up. And the first thing they wanted to do was build a tabernacle because it was such an experience. And he didn't even give them time to do that. He said, now we're going. Let's get out of here. Like, wait a minute, I want to build an altar. But the altar was in their heart. There was an altar created. I remember Pastor saying that we create many altars in our life. We put our marriage on the altar, our children on the altar, our lives on the altar, finances. So altars were very important. So there is a book being read. There's a book being written about each of our lives. The Bible hasn't stopped being written. It's going to be written in eternity, more and more.
Malachi 3.
According to the gospel of Bruce, up in heaven, like your life will be a testimony. His life will be a testimony. His life, this man especially, will be a testimony. And then you got Pastor Tom. Unbelievable what God has done through his life. He has a simple belief that God is moving in his life, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, but don't ask him that. And don't ask me that.
No.
Because we don't know. It's like fruit's not for the tree.
Yeah.
It's not for the vine. It's for others. If you've ever gone through an apple orchard, it's like the apple tree doesn't say, oh, no, not you. It's like, no, if you can reach it, you can get it. That's why, the key to evangelism is, am I willing to let someone into my life? Am I accessible? Most of us, we have successfully, we got a moat around our lives. We got some sort of castle, for protection because of insecurities, which are there and they're real. But the minute you let down that drawbridge and, somebody can come in, all bets are off.
Wow.
Like there's this guy, Mike, and I mean it's been like 6 years now, but he sits at traffic light, Hartford Road and Joppa, the corner of Hartford and Joppa. And then like for like a couple of years we didn't see him. But he's back. And so I'm at the traffic light, you know, and I said, like, wow, you know, like, so I rolled my window down. I said, Mike, and he looks at me, and I said, hey, you remember? Because we had a conversation years ago, and what I realized is that it's not important that he remembers me. What's important is that like the Holy Spirit brought remembrance back to him, you know? And he's like the same way. You know, he's just like, you know, he's like hyper, you know, whatever, you know, like whatever's got him out on the street still does, you know, and so, but for me, it's like he needs the fruit. And can I be accessible, or do I, you know, when I see him, roll my window up, you know, like, I hope he didn't see me, you know, which I've done, not with him, but with other guys, you know what I'm talking about. You know. My phone will ring, and I know who it is. I mean, come on, let's talk about this a little bit, you know, like, in fact, it was on my mind this morning, and I forget what it was. I don't know whether it was Oswald or somebody, but anyway, I got provoked, you know, in terms of accessibility. Now, I do need to also guard my time. You know, like, you know, I think we all know we could get into relationships, and it's a blood-sucking relationship. It's a one-way deal, you know, like, I know, like, by the time this conversation ends, I'm going to be drained. I'm not going to be any good to anybody else. So I need to be careful. I need to be selective, okay? But at the same time, I need to be willing, you know. Sometimes, that's all the Lord wants to know. Am I willing? Not that I go do it, but are you willing, you know, to have this situation come up in your life? Well, yeah, God, okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. And what I thought I was avoiding by saying, no, I don't want that, you know. He says, well, I wasn't going to give that to you. I wasn't gonna, you know, just wanted a little heart check. Heart check.
I was talking to this guy that I have seen a few times in church. He lives up in Pennsylvania. And I was talking to him, and he plays the trumpet. You know, he wants to do a duet with somebody. He's asking me, who's in charge of the music? And I'm listening in. I'm just trying to be friendly to him. Then all of a sudden, I'm kind of looking for people in the church that I want to see. And all of a sudden he goes, you're not even listening to me. I said, well, I'm looking for the next person I can go up and edify. Yeah. And he like, it was just funny. But it was like you said, I can't always put all my attention to one person.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like, you know, we've done this. You know, hey, Pastor, how you doing? You know, like shaking a hand and looking over here.
Yeah, I know. We've all done that.
I mean, it's not easy.
No, it's not. But but God uses it.
He does.
You know, whatever it is. I mean, I thought it was funny when he said, you're not even listening.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was listening to him.
Yeah, well, but you know, like,
Which I got that gift. I got that gift from my wife. Because I don't.
She's not even looking at you.
I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. But because of being married to my wife, I can now here a little bit here and there. I could get 2 places done, which is unheard of for me. I'm a guy. I'm one track, focused on one thing. God is just through my wife showed me how you do that. But then I got exposed when he said, "You're not listening to me." It's funny. I'm trying to edify the guy and I probably wounded him.
Well, thank you.
Facts from the year.
Well, thank you.
Facts from the year. God, I talk to you, you hear it. And you answer me with something. Don't answer me, don't look at me after you.
Wow.
Forget about it.
You know, that's something. Pastor Shallow touched on. There's like four or five chapters in Job, and he just simply said, he says, what are these chapters about in the book of Job? And somebody from the audience said, Job. And he said, absolutely correct. He said, like, there was like 37 plus or times where the personal pronoun I and or me was used in that section.
Yeah.
And the time in which when people would stop talking when I walked in the room, not because they were talking about me, but because there was an honor, there was an esteem, or help the widows and orphans, and I, me.
Yeah.
But then God says, no, it's me. And we've all, so, and it ties into what you say. You are not even listening to me because I am like looking to see who else I can, right. Or like you're not paying any attention to me. Don't they know who, there's this scene, I just love it, I got goosebumps on this, from the original Magnificent Seven with Yul Brynner, okay, and Eli Wallach plays the gangster, the gang leader, So he's got 40 plus men with him, So they ride into this village that they were ransacking, and so there's the 7 magnificent men show up, and so Eli Wallach says, "Oh, you'll have 7, aha!" And then Yul Brynner just says, "Yeah," and ride on. And Eli Wallach he's sitting up in his saddle, and Yul Brynner's on the ground, standing up on the ground. And he just turns to him. He said, "To me, ride on. To me." I mean, and like all the energy of ego comes out, like, does he know who I am, And ride on. We can tell the devil that, Those of you that know who I am, ride on.
Wow.
So, rise up. Wow, so
The music